We back. What's poppin', man? It's your boy OK Bet, aka K Trades, man. We hit multiple 100% gains today. I gave us one official call in the chat. Some puts. We kind of already, figured out this plan from, over the weekend and stuff like that. So let's just go over the trades, man. Let's just get straight into it. It's Monday. Start off the week with an absolute banger of a day, man. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna go over some of the stuff, last week, kind of getting prepped for this week, outcomes of the possibilities, and yeah, let's get some of this money, man. All right, so first things first, right? Going into the weekend, I made note of two things. All right, so this was our old resistance. This is the daily chart. All right, remember we gapped up last week, or whenever that was. We just gapped up and just went straight up, right? No pullback, no nothing. We had to go in and find those little smaller levels, right? And then we kind of over last week while it chopped, we kind of were able to see, okay, which levels are good. We kind of figured, okay, up here towards that 775 was resistance, and then down here some support, and then higher support up here. But what happened on Friday? Remember we always talked about how Friday, I just don't like Fridays no more because they just seem to always be choppy. Like every blue moon we'll get a good directional day, but a lot of times they're inside, right? And I hate trading inside. So what I did was I marked the wicks, wick to wick of the mother candle and the inside candle on the upper side for the resistance, and I did the same thing on the support. So I figured, all right, look, one of these sides got to break, right? And if this is gonna break, remember, we don't really have much to go off of. Remember, we're all-time highs. We only have, let me turn this off. We only have this. I mean, we know this is resistance. That we only had 2 days to really check it out. So we know that, and we know that this once was resistance. Remember, try to get above, fail, 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 fail. So we do know that below this is resistance, but above this is support. So now you put all that together, right? Now this is where the patience comes in handy. And this is why today I was like, hey, I'm going to grab 2 DTEs. We grabbed 2 DTEs. My boy Banks, especially got out that boy Banks. That boy grabbed zeros. That boy smacked 400%. It's nuts. But yeah, I just I wanted to play a little safer, especially because it's Monday. We might have a little volume day, which we ended up having. So it was actually really good that I did because I was able to just kind of, go touch grass, run some errands, right? And then I noticed this bearish megaphone. So once I seen that, I was like, oh, okay. Once we got that first low day, I was like, all right, we're good. As long as, and I told him my stops would be at today's high. So, because remember, as far as we know, above this, look, breakout, retest, came down, gapped up. So we know when the price comes down here, if it likes it, it goes up. But what? Look left. Below it, it doesn't like it. It goes down. So all we had to do, remember what I said last time, time will tell, right? It's not just a saying, it's truth. Time will tell. Time will always tell. So, you might not be right in the moment. You might be right later. You might not, but time will tell. So there's no real need for us to guess and try to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, patience was the key today. So patience was the reason why we didn't chase this. This is the reason why I didn't stop out of the puts, right? Because remember, whenever things are going sideways, or you're in that, like daily or higher time frame levels, it's going to take more time. So if this is a 4-hour resistance, we're not just going to go through it in 5 minutes. It's not how this works. If it's been tested, over days and hours and all this time, it's going to take more time to be retested. You know what I'm saying? So, and then mind you, we still had to make sure it is a lower high, right? So if we do make a possible lower low, we still have to be careful of any kind of lower high between here and here. And this is why I was like, okay, we'll just use this high of day for like the stop. So, we just sat, we waited. I actually took a little nap. I'm not gonna lie, I fell asleep a little bit. But like I said, once I seen the megaphone, I was like, okay, I feel a little better about it, right? A little bearish megaphone. And then once we got that new low day, I was like, oh, yeah, no, nothing, because that was the only one I actually called out today. Scaling. I was like, it's gonna be a chop day or errands, stops at low day, adds at 744. So we ended up adding, boom, 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 and then ended up cutting those at the end for 100%. I rolled into 768s only because when you have a good move like that, be waiting for this move. I don't want to just risk what I just had in there. Like I still want to be in the play, but not expose as much risk. So I'm like, okay, 678. It's still in that range, right? It's in that lower range where it could come, close this gap, and it could. But any gap up, honestly. But let's switch up to the VIX real quick. last week I was saying how we were approaching that bounce zone. Remember, I was like, look, I'm not saying this is going to be a market crash or nothing like that, but whenever we come into the zone, 14, 13, all that stuff, and it's something, just a little volatility spike. And again, not saying it's going to be a crash, but pair that with us being at all-time highs, with us having the inside day, and then us kind of breaking, retesting that lower side of the wick. You put all this together, you what they say, you get lemons, you make lemonade. You see what I'm saying? And then we targeted this, of course, which was the gap. So this was a beautiful day. Like, I can't lie, it was a beautiful day. Yeah, see, look, broke that lower wick, took that lower wick out. Once we took out those two, I'm letting it ride. I actually got more. So I ended up playing, I'm not going to lie, I ended up playing a few times. Look, what is that? Okay, 500%? And then these ones I swung. This is some end of day stuff, little quick 100%ers. You know what I'm saying? This is what we do. We just smacking. So, yeah. So now let's get into the game plan for tomorrow. All right, let's kind of see what we feel could be possibly going on here. So, again, first things first. Where are we in regards to levels? Remember how last week we talked about we had this ascending triangle, all right? Ascending wedge, whatever you want to call it. And we said that if it broke out and retested, right, continued up, we're good to go. Did not make a new high, right? So this was what? A high, lower high. Or my fault. High, a low, lower high, and then today was our low. So two ways this can play out, right? Well, upside of chop. Chop, screw chop. I hate chop. But two ways I'd be looking for this to play out is a retest of this kind of 775, kind of like the same area over here, right? We kept retesting it. Either kind of in this area and then just go ahead and give it back up, come down here, probably knock these out, come down, retest some support. Remember, we do still want a nice breakout retest, right? Like, just because we had an explosive move, we still want that to kind of, give us an entry. You don't want to just be pumping, because then, that's what happened last time. A lot of people missed out on that rally. So, and plus, I don't think they'd do it again exactly the same way, right? Because everybody's kind of expecting it, like, y'all finna pump it again? You know what I'm saying? So I think they, probably know that a lot of people are expecting or just trying to buy the dip. So a lot of people probably bought this dip and, and then it gap up overnight and then, but it's the market though. So it's meant to kind of trick and trap. So either do that way or let's say we gap up, right? Get a nice little gap up, reclaim 775 and this just be a trap and then it be like a inverse head and shoulder, little retest, right? And then come take up back up here. So because remember, these are the wicks that's how we got these zones. These are the wicks from the mother candle and the inside candle. That's the reason why we use them, right? So still going to be able to, kind of use them if you need to. But either way it goes, up or down, it doesn't really matter. But, yeah, I think that's about, wait. Earnings. NVIDIA. I think NVIDIA has earnings. When is it? Is it next week or is it this week? I seen somebody talking about it. I said, I can't forget NVIDIA. I always miss earnings, bro, for NVIDIA. I don't know why. Let me see. 1 second. Yeah, see. Look, give me a little pullback and then rocket right before. I'll take it. Let me see. NVDA. All right, so we got earnings. Okay. When is it? I'm not seeing when it is. Either way, NVIDIA earnings is coming up. All right. I'm hype. That's why I'm like, okay, I hope they give us this pullback on SPY, because if we do, let's say we do get a little pullback into next week or whenever this NVIDIA earnings are, and so does NVIDIA, if everything still looks good, right? Remember, we don't know what's gonna happen for real, but history kind of rhymes sometimes. It's not always gonna repeat itself 100%. But I mean, look, if we're above these levels, bro, I mean, who can we argue with, right? We can't argue with price action. It's just not how it works. As much as, we may feel a certain way about companies and all that stuff, but it's really it's a toss-up. So, but if we do start to get a pullback and, things get, decent time above support, 215, all that good stuff, if earnings comes around and it, it's holding, I'm probably going to take some calls. I ain't gonna lie, man. Probably going to take some calls. And then that's why I'm hoping that we do kind of get this pullback so we can, by the time earnings comes, get a nice little, something. And it doesn't even have to be this deep, but just some sort of pullback, Makes it way more fun because, yeah, just buying this up this high. Like I said, the last rally, it did do it, right? It did take off. It just ran for what, 9 weeks straight. But I don't want to assume that it'll happen again just because, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we got this Nvidia earnings next week. I definitely will be looking at the gamma. I definitely be looking at the flow. I'll be looking at all that stuff when our earnings time, because you never know, bro. I remember one time I missed the earnings play. Everybody was like, "Oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this," bro. Everybody was up like 3,000% at open. I was hurt. So, but yeah, as long as you know though, earnings are still a gamble, right? We don't really know because lately we've been having a bunch of dumping pumps and pumping dumps after hours. Everybody be hype, and then by the time the market opens it down, or vice versa, or it does both and then still opens flat, right? So you can get cooked on earnings. So that's why, like I said, I'll be focusing more on SPY as the sympathy play, I guess. But we'll see how it all plays along. But yeah, good start to a good week, man. I hope we fill this gap overnight, make it a little easier, because then I could just take off some of my position and then hold. And if we go in the money, right, 6, 7 days. Mind you, we have 2 days, so it should all be good. Dollar DXY, how we looking? 11.11. Make a wish. All right, so we are kind of holding this, right? We're still kind of holding this flag, kind of channel pattern. It is a downward pattern, so note of that. But it still can break out, right? It still can, and that would also kind of go hand in hand with if people start to go cash. But like I said, again, I'm not saying this to be like, oh, big crash coming, big pump coming, big anything, right? We don't know. I'm just saying you got to be prepared for all possibilities, right? All sides of things. So yeah, man, let's SPY play out. Like I said, I would prefer overnight retest, and then by the time we open, kind of knock that out, because then I'll feel a little better about us. Go ahead and close that gap, and then maybe just buy in here at this 678, or my fault, 768, 769 level. But still, we kind of want to. It was a deeper pullback, bro. But if we do go down first, I think that'll be a little harder, right? If we just open up down here, I definitely probably won't add any shorts unless we get some sort of lower high, and then that will also give us maybe like a like a head and shoulder or something like that. Excuse me. So yeah, that's what I would prefer, right? Break down below neckline, and then because the breakdown will be a little easier to play than it holding, because if let's say it's all just is holds and it just squeezes back up, you can definitely play it like that, but it's not as fun. I'm not gonna lie, it's just not as fun. Definitely not as fun, man. No pullback. It's like, how it be when you wait. You wait for a play, you miss it. It comes down. You've been waiting all day. It comes down to your level, you get it, and it's just instant green. That's what it would be like if we went a little lower, so we can get a good dip buy. But buying up here, all the way up here, man. Look, plus it's like you know how it be, bro. Whenever you get that like pump, and then you take out that high, sometimes that high just be a trap, bro, and then they get you. And then everybody, they kind of pull back a little bit. And then they trick all the bears. And then they come bring it back up. So that's what I'm hoping they do. Hope they trick both sides. I hope the bulls, and like I said, I'm a bull. But I do hope we suffer a little bit. I hope they kind of scare us, right? Like I want the pullback to be decent enough to where the Twitter people are like, market crash over. Like I want it to kind of get to that, right? Like nothing crazy, right? Probably not back sub. We go sub 750. Yeah, we might have to reevaluate, right? If we just erase this, like quickly, yeah, might have to reevaluate. Remember, it's just Monday. Don't focus too much on the future. Focus on what you can see, what you can control, right? That's today only. So don't stress tomorrow. Keep it simple. Remember, this is a simple game plan. This is as simple as you make it. You. If you complicate it, it'll be complicated. Keep it simple, it'll be simple. So yeah, man, it's gonna be wrapping about up. Okay, 14 minutes, not too bad. All right, not too shabby. Trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's it. Yeah, it should be, like I said, it should be pretty simple. It shouldn't be too much, unless of course we just chop. Now we chop, we hate chop. Just set alerts, go to bed. But yeah. So remember, either we can reject, we can reclaim, or we go straight down, bounce, or no bounce, just straight down. So give yourself about a few little game plans, but see y'all in the morning. Y'all know where to find me. Hit me on IG, hit me on the gram, Discord, all that good stuff. Links all in the description. And yeah, I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'm so tired. As you probably can tell, it's about to take me a mean nap. But yeah, peace. Be easy. Keep God first.